Welcome back to another edition of the Dog Culture Podcast. Yeah, you see my co-host, the gun guy. We're on the third part of our 4-week series, man. We've been attacking it crazy, trying to really help you guys understand what that means. All right, that dog means. First week we hit desire. Second week attitude. This week, you know it. You're on that W, that dub, and we're talking about will, right? We're talking about will, man. And I think there's a famous quote. I forgot what it was. It said, "Willpower gets you started," right? And I kind of wanted to wrestle with that. But first, before we start, I wanted to talk about, is he a dog? Is he a dog? All right. Going back to my Lakers. All right. Going back to the Lakers, is AD proving himself to be a dog? It's almost like it ain't even affecting him. Like he just like, yeah, this is just another day at practice. That's how he playing.
Like this, my
Talk
team.
to me, man. Talk to me.
I'm the
AD a dog.
I honestly think right now, and I told you I ain't been watching basketball, but it looks like without AD, the Lakers ain't where they at right now. That's what it looks like to me. So
most definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's definitely a dog. The confrontation he be having with Crowder, and you know Crowder like used to be the bully in the league, right? And AD be just staring him down, dog. Like I'll be like, yeah.
I mean, he's 6'11", man. So
and that helps. That helps. Yep. So, but yeah, he's definitely a dog in my book. But what's up with Butler? Is he a dog? Because
Butler's been doggy. He been doggy for real.
Like I said, I ain't been watching it, but he don't look like he trying to take over. He look like he trying to get everybody involved too much. So I don't know.
But I mean, I think he understands the totality of what it takes to win. Like he can go off and score 40. That don't mean they're gonna win, because when you really look at it and look at probably the past 20, 30 years of basketball, anytime you have a small, you need a big. You know what I mean? Allen obviously couldn't get it done because he didn't have a big. You know, when you look at a Shaq and Kobe, right, is a small and a big. You know what I mean? A 2 or 3 and a big. You feel me? So when you got that, I mean, Mike and Jordan were the only ones that weren't really, you know, small and a big. But they had so much of a team nucleus. And he really played that Robin role right, that he, you know, he complimented that.
Mike and Jordan is the same person.
I mean, Mike and Pippen. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mike and Pippen.
I know.
Yeah, I'm tripping. So when you really look at the nucleus of like the recipe to winning, like you need a big. Yeah. And the fact that he doesn't have a big, you know,
right,
it hurts him. So you know he has a bunch of role players. You know, trying to step up. So, and that's hit or miss. You know, your role player is only going to give you 15, 11, you know, maybe on a good day, 21. You know, if you need somebody like AD and LeBron, if they both score 30, they win.
I still feel like, all right, if it ain't working, then I just got to take over, like, my way. But maybe he'll figure that part out. I guess he's trying to find different solutions.
The Heat are in the finals, bro. The Heat are in the finals. Understand, like, he's doing something right. He became a leader. He's helped that team grow. This is similar to Kawhi last year in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do it alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really look at the series last year with Kawhi, this dude laughing. What was the guy's name? The big that they had in Toronto.
I don't watch basketball.
Oh, the S, don't it?
Oh yeah, I was trying. Yeah, Siakam, right? He stepped up major in the finals. You know what I'm saying? So when you got that, when you have that compliment, it works out, man. So give him some time, yo. Give him some time.
I hope.
If he get, like you said, if he get a Giannis to come to Miami, it's over.
No, because P, sometimes you only get one shot, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just be waiting and be like, man, if I had a, like, no, you just go.
You just need a big. That's
he,
it.
He just need to turn up. That's what he need to do.
Understand something. Jordan couldn't get it done by himself. Remember
Jordan can do whatever he wants.
He couldn't get it done by himself. Ask him what happened with Detroit.
Yeah, we know that, but once he got there, it's like it's blood in the water. Like, even my thing is, if Dame is playing, like P just left. If Dame is playing, right, he may not win.
I did that for emphasis, like I wasn't listening to you.
He may not win, but he gonna put the team on his back. Now, I'm not saying he's not doing a good job of getting these guys involved. I'm just saying he's not doing enough. For me,
so I think this is the life lesson right here. Nothing great will be done by yourself.
Yeah, I understand that. But in your effort, you can do more. It may not get the job done, but there's more. Like, I honestly
saw that's your point.
Third quarter, he was gassed, and I was like, what's going on?
So understand something. They are playing from the opening jump ball. They're playing balls to the wall just to be in the game with them.
I understand this, but I don't.
I'm gonna be real. The Lakers just walking up the court, like, okay, taking their time.
What's the difference, though?
They're going so hard that they're gassing themselves out.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy Butler. When I looked at the screen, he was the only one. Now, yeah, maybe he's exerting more energy trying to defend, get people involved, thinking, and score. But that's been done before. So I don't like – all I can say is put Dame in that situation.
Dame wasn't in that situation. They got eliminated.
Yeah, but guess what? He still put up numbers.
Okay.
Like, I understand.
Numbers when you don't have the end goal.
Well, what good is not having numbers when you don't have the end goal?
I love you, man.
My thing is, if I'm going to lose, I'm gonna go out shooting.
Yeah, I love you, man. I do.
That's just what I'm going to do.
I do. Shout out to our dog of the week, Mr. Dante Bailey.
Yeah. Shout out to you.
Huge case. Helping one of his former clients get out a 37-year stretch. He works in the criminal justice system as a criminal investigator, and he helped overturn a conviction for a young man at the time when he was convicted, get out a very long sentence. So shout out to him doing some great work down in Florida. Right? That's our brother, Mr. Bailey. Shout out to you, dog of the week.
Dude was convicted in 1984, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. Changing lives, man. I mean,
big time. Don't emphasize that. So let's get into it. Well, should I ask you how you doing? Would you rather me start with that?
Got to.
How you feeling, man? How you feeling this week?
Feel great. Can't tell.
I can't, but it's okay. I like the mindset.
Yeah.
Mr. Foster, our other co-host. I'm sorry I didn't go into the straight introduction. I want to, do like DJ Envy. I'm your old DJ Envy, but go ahead.
Nah, I'm good, bro. Just taking it one day at a time, man. Preparing myself for the week to come. Want some real stuff.
Awesome.
How about you, bro?
Man, loaded question. I'm good though. I mean, you know what? I actually like working and exhausting myself. I know that sounds crazy, but I know that, and something that me and Mike talk about all the time, working smarter.
Yeah.
Working smarter, man. Like, I don't want to work till I die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to do work until I die, but I don't want to work, just like we talking about Jimmy Butler exerting that. Third quarter come and he's like exhausted. Like, I want to I have enough energy to put so much into something or some things, and that's what I want to focus on, but I don't want to do it to the point of it being my detriment.
Right.
So I'm going to put all I got into the things that I'm working on so that they can grow and I can enjoy the fruits of those labors. You know what I mean?
Beautiful answer.
Yeah. So here we go. The W. Talk to us, Mike, when we kind of talk about what will is, right? And there's a bunch of different definitions, but expressing a strong intention or assertion about the future, right?
That's Webster's definition.
That's Webster's definition. You know, they give you a list of definitions. That's the one I pulled out. But talk to us about will, man. How did you come up with that? The will portion of the dog.
Determination. Will was my determination to do what they said I couldn't do. You can't go to the gym. You're going to lose weight. You're not going to be able to eat food. Like, it was several times when I was in the hospital when I didn't feel like eating, and this may seem, small, but I didn't feel like eating, and I had to will myself to actually eat food because I kept in the back of my mind, you're not going to, you won't. This won't be able to happen. You will do this. And everything they told me that was going to happen, I was intentional about not letting that become my reality. So I had to will myself several times through my battle to do the things that they said I wasn't going to be able to do.
How'd you do that though? Like, how'd you will yourself?
It's mental, and that's why we talk about mental toughness. I had to keep telling myself that this will not happen. And when you have a goal, or at least for me, when there's a goal at hand, it's like that's something to me is tangible that I need to go get that. And here are the things that I need to do in order to make that happen. So and it's hard. How was
your feelings though at that time? Like, was your feelings just your natural body feelings, like saying like?
It was horrible because like you think about it. So, or when I think about it, when chemo is in your body, you kind of don't feel anything but the pain. So it's hard for you to actually think about what's next because you're dealing with this internal feeling that you can't really explain. And because it like makes you literally sick from your mouth to your stomach, like everything, and then you're dealing with the side effect, it's hard for you to be like, all right, I'm gonna get up and go do X, Y, and Z because your body really just wants to rest. So with the feeling that I had, it was like a battle of self between self because the human body wanted to say, yo, we can't do this because we're not physically capable. And everything that you hear and everything that you're supposed to do, like you have to rest, you have to do this and that. And I just felt like if I followed those like guidelines that I wouldn't be able to fight the way I wanted to fight. All right. And I felt like I needed to be as strong as I possibly can, physically and mentally. So the hard part was going against myself when I was like, yo, you gotta rest. And yes, your body will, like, you do need to rest. But I told myself when I leave the hospital, if I can't go today, I'm going to the gym tomorrow because I had to, in my mind, I had to envision that nothing was changing. And I just didn't want to see myself as a patient. So that was the biggest part. I didn't want to see myself as a cancer patient. Although I saw it in the mirror, I didn't want it to become my reality here. So the more I saw like the effect of the chemo, the more I had to do what I needed to do to keep my picture in my mind right. So I kept going to the gym, like my routine won't change. I kept eating foods. And what I did, if there are any cancer patients listening, I ate the foods that I craved. So if I craved it, when I ate it, it tastes like really good. So I think that is what helped me keep my weight because they're like your taste buds will go out the window. But if you like, yo, I need some sardines. When you eat them sardines, them Jones gonna taste like heaven. And that's what, like, that was part of the way I was able to will myself because I like came up with little like tricks in my mind. Like, all right, so if you don't go to the gym, dog, you're going to become as scrawny as the people you've seen in the past that had cancer. And if they said that's what you are supposed to become, your job is to defy the odds. Your job is to go back and be 1 pound heavier than you were at your last visit. So it was just, you know, like, I guess to keep the picture in my mind was most important. So that is where the determination came from, like winning the mind battle.
So, and y'all two kind of break this down for me. And I hear this all the time, and I'm sure you have too. If there's a will, there's a way.
Church.
You know, tell me what that means to you when you hear that. When there's a will, there's a way.
Well, you want to jump in? I mean, I got it right here, so I'll tell you how I feel about it.
I know I'm going to jump in and then say, oh, I got it. Hold on.
I do it all the time. It's like double dutch. You ready? And then you start jumping. If there's a will, there's a way. My thing, and that is 100% true, because it's like you find it no matter what. And the determination to get to the end goal, like when it's so big to you, like when it means so much to you, no matter what happens, what obstacle, how you feel, no matter what comes in the way, you figure it out. And I think that's the beauty in life, man. Sometimes we get hit with situations where it's like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. But your why is so big that somehow, some way you refuse to quit, and you figure out what you need to do along the way to overcome that obstacle. So when they say that if there's a will, there's a way, I would like to probably flip it. If there's a why, there's a way, because your will is in connection with your why, because the why drives you. I stole it.
You stole my. You literally just stole what I was going to say, bro.
I love him, because I knew
this is why you can't let him go first, Mark.
I knew he was gonna come with some heat, bro.
Let him go first, dog.
Smart, bro. Like seriously.
There's a why to put that up on the wall. There's a why
But nah, you're 100% right, Mike. Like, that's literally the whole time, as you were talking earlier, that's the whole thing I was thinking about. Like, where there's a will, there's a way. It's literally attached to your why. If your why is strong enough, it's going to show you, it's going to lead you to where you need to get to. The thing is that a lot of us don't lock into our why. But I'm not going to let you steal my thunder, bro. Like, I do have something else, though.
Yeah.
But I'll also add on to it, and it's definitely an apples and oranges thing, but I feel like we can combine it to make it a whole. And to me, and you had hit on it when you were talking about going to the gym, where there's a routine, there's a promise. And the thing is that your routine was your anchor. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was your sense of normalcy, bro. That you were like, out of all the chaos that's going on, that's my identity. I'm a gym warrior. Like, I'm not gonna take that away from myself. Mm-hmm. And I think too often than not, we're always just trying to figure out things on the fly. And if we just take time to establish a routine, that usually more often than not leads us to where it is our desired result, our desired, destination is. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because, like, even today, I didn't do my morning routine. And when I say I feel off, bruh, understatement. You know what I mean? But it's like every time that I do go through my morning routine, again, it's just the anchor, bruh. And like, no matter what gets thrown my way, it always keeps me in place. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead and add to that and say, where there's a routine, there's a promise.
See, this is why I like love this introduction you did, Mike, with Mark. Because it's perfect segue, man, because in the beginning I said willpower gets you started, right? But the end of the quote says habits get you results.
Full circle.
Habits get you results. That's principle.
That's right.
So in the willingness to, and one of the definitions, I think it talks about expressing habitual behavior. Right? The willingness to establish a routine, to do it over and over and over, regardless of how you feel. Right? And I think that's part of where people go wrong, because they're doing something expecting to, see the result, doing it expecting to receive the result, but they don't understand that the result is in the habit of it.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna show up until the 10,000th time. You know what I mean? But you just doing it like, oh, it ain't here yet. It ain't here yet. That, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's gonna come with the habit of it. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to. You might have a will to start something. You might have a will to do something, and you start out, everything's energetic in the beginning, from relationships to work to, projects. But it really separate the people that really want to do it and those that don't, with the ones that's willing to stick with it.
Yeah,
right?
man.
For the willingness to stick with it, right?
Yeah, no, you understand right, bro. There's genius in routine, bro. There's genius in habit. And once you're just able to just lock in and understand, like you just said, like it goes back to, a comment that I think I made last week when we were talking, when I was like, 1 + 1 is not 2. It's 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. It's a continuous thing. And I think more often than not, you hit the nail on the head, Paul. We think that our why is enough. And like we get so caught up in like big word for you, Mike. We get so platitudes. Platitudes being just like
platypus.
Just being sayings and things of that nature that just make us feel good in the inside. And like Paul alluded to, it can probably get you up for that first day. Maybe even that second day.
Or that first week.
You said what?
Or that first week.
Or that first week, but it's like, is it sustainable? You know what I'm saying? What is it rooted in? What's going to get you out of the bed them days when like you're just not feeling it?
You know what I'm saying? In trouble today because we about to dive deep.
So,
go ahead.
Like the book Atomic Habits. James Clear. I said that right? Look, I'm referencing books. So listen.
It's only because it's on this table. That's why he's like, oh yeah, the book right here.
No, this is the book. This is the book that's on my table, buddy.
I told you.
That's not it.
Okay, my bad. My fault.
So, and that's like, it's key because I meet a lot of folks. Since my journey starting, dog culture, and people, I meet entrepreneurs, I meet people who like, yo, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And I'm like, yo, you should read Atomic Habits because like we're such emotional creatures, right? And this actually ties into like helping out with emotional intelligence. When you don't feel like doing something, you know what I'm saying? Okay. When you don't, I done said emotional intelligence like 4 times. I get the same response from him. When you don't feel like doing something, your habits are what keep you in the game. A lot of people, like for me, I was like, my whole goal, right? Get up 4 o'clock, work out, start your day early because you need this time to get done what you need to get done. And also the blueprint, I follow the blueprint. Like we ain't invent the wheel, but we made the good rich tired. Shout out to Jay. But the blueprint is, how has it been done before? Like, why am I trying to recreate something that clearly has a system? Like, if I can follow and get this system attached to my life, then I can have or have a path to the result of which I long for, right? But because we're so emotional and we have so many like components in life that pull on our emotions, there are times when we like, yo, I just don't feel like it. Or we wake up, be like, today ain't the day. And those are the moments we grow. And in order to grow in those moments, we have to establish the habit of doing something regardless of how you feel. And I always like bring this back. Like you wake up, and since you were a child, most people, you wake up, you brush your teeth. Like that's just a habit that your parents teach you. You wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, wash your face, start your day. Regardless if you feel good or not, like 99.9% of the time, you wake up and you brush your teeth. Like that, it is what it is. But this is a habit that we've created since childhood that regardless of my feelings, I'm going to brush my teeth anyway. So if I can do something, and let's say you start at 25, a lot of people like, it hasn't happened yet. It's not a habit yet. Well, you haven't done it enough. You know what I'm saying? So you will have your ups and downs in your
battles.
battles.
Like a little bar you slid in there, bro.
I be driving bars.
Yeah. Straight up.
But when you start doing something consistently over and over and over and over again, eventually when you feel like, and the part where you get over the hump is when you don't feel like it. And that's the part where we have to be intentional. Be like point it out. This is the moment where I'm going to take a step backwards or a step forward. And what you'll realize is when you take that step forward and when you actually do what you said you were going to do, regardless of your feeling, you will feel the growth. You be like, yo, that like, and then it will feel good afterwards. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So the habits that we create literally keep us, it keeps us on track to like becoming the individual that we want to become. Like that character building, like that's what habits do. Like you build character along the way, and once it locks in, it's a wrap. So now I can focus on another habit to create. But like habits are so important because, and just like business, like emotions are out the window. Habits, your emotions have to be out the window, and you have to you literally have to work on it. Because if you feel like, all right, I've been doing it for 10 days, 12, like whatever, and it's not working, like then you're not focusing on like the path at hand. Because with habits, you can't focus on the end goal. You got to focus on the right now and understand that it may not happen today and you may drop the ball, but you have tomorrow to figure it out and get back on the horse. So habits are very important. I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm glad, I referenced that book that I read.
Right. No, that's big. Something that you referenced that I'm working on right now is moments that I have where I'm like, I know you and I had the conversation yesterday, Mark, the thing that I tell my son, I also use for myself, like, discipline yourself in this moment. You know what I mean? You got to discipline, like, you're not supposed to be eating that, like, and so one step further for Mike, like, do you want to move forward or do you want to move backward towards what you want, right? So I look at it like, because the next piece that I want to dive into is the difference between a want and a will, right? Because I think a lot of people want things that isn't necessarily attached to their why, right? Because when you ask them why did they want it, they're like, well, I want to feel this way, or I want, so sometimes their wants are deeply rooted to a different why from what's on the surface, right? And I was thinking about money, and we'll talk about the difference between a want and a why. That's the question. But I was thinking about money, and I was like, people want certain things, going back to the thing that Mike said, for emotional response. We buy things for an emotional response of how we think it would feel to have it. That's why we buy certain clothes, shoes, yada, yada, because we feel like, oh, this will make me look good, or this will make me feel like this. So in our minds, when we think about money, we think, dang, if I had this amount of money, I would feel like this. And then some people actually obtain that level of money and they realize this isn't the feeling that I thought I would feel.
Yeah.
Or you become even enslaved to getting the money to the point where it becomes more stressful to even make it than to actually enjoy it. From the original thought that you had, like, yo, having all this money would make me feel like this. Right? So sometimes we don't really know the why of why we want it. We're just looking for that emotional response, which, Western capitalism has taught us, this will make you feel this way, this will make you feel that way, buy this, so on and so forth. So I'm doing a mic right now. Right?
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome to my world. Let's get to the difference between want and will. Sorry.
Well, what I will add on to that, Paul, is the idea that, like, it's this dude named Dan Graziosi. I know I'm butchering his name, but he has this exercise where he talks about asking why 7 times. So because what he said was initially when you ask a person a question, like they said they want this desire and they say, you know, I want $1 million. It's like, well, why? And they're like, yeah, because I want to take care of my family. Then it's like, but why? So it's like you keep asking, and it's called 7 layers deep because at the 7th layer, that's when you really tap into like what the true root of what it is that you truly desire. A lot of us give a lot of surface level answers. Like, so one of the elephants in the room, I hate when people tell me, I'm not saying that I don't agree with this, but it's become so cliche. I'm like, yeah, bro, like, you know, why you want to start a business? Yeah, family legacy. And it's like, okay, why? You know what I'm saying? But it's a good enough answer that no one's going to question you. You feel what I'm saying? But then, like, again, when you have those tumultuous, like, when you have that turmoil and things like that going on in your life or whatever, like, is that going to be the anchor that's really going to, like, drive you? You know what I'm saying? And again, it's nothing wrong with saying no.
Yeah.
Get real with yourself and ask that question, you know, 7 times. Well, why? Well, why is this and why is that? And it's amazing the type of breakthrough that you'll get when you really dig down to the depths of what it is that you truly desire. But everything right now is just bubbling on the surface.
Yeah. And when you said that, what another one that brought to or came to mind was when people say, because I don't want to work for nobody else.
Right.
But why though? Because I even said it, like, I want to be my own boss. Why do you want to be your own boss? I think we should jump into that. After we hit the G, we should definitely jump into that.
Hey, I asked the question.
But that's important, man, because like I even had to like go soul searching, like, why do you want to be your own boss? Like, what is the reason behind it, bro? Because it sounds good, or because it's not like you just stay at home and chill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
that ain't what comes with it. But why do you want? But I got something for that.
I mean, I honestly think that, you know, especially over the last maybe 5 to 7 years, entrepreneurship has become sexy, right? They don't really know how difficult it really is, right? Yeah. Though a lot of millennials have, you know, we're the best generation as far as being millionaires. We've figured out new ways. I mean, a whole new arena of money, from technology to, you know, YouTube, social media, so on and so forth, e-commerce, like we talked about before. It opened up a lot of doors. But what I realized in it, we didn't really spend the time, like you said, understanding the whys.
Yeah.
Why don't we talked about it yesterday, Mark? Like, it's about multiple bags.
Right.
It's not about one bag. You leaving your job to do it, to make money harder as an entrepreneur, and you're making the same money.
Right.
Whereas you could have kept the job and then did the business and then kept both and then grew it to the point where you're making astronomically more, right? Because you're using some of the money from your job to fund your business.
Right.
Instead of like, oh, I'm leaving, I'm just, you know what I mean? Now, granted, everybody can do it their own way.
Yeah.
But something that I learned yesterday, I was listening to this lady called Tiffany, got her last name. But she was talking about debt. No, not Haddish. She was talking about attacking debt. And she's like, there's a psychology. We got to be very careful of what we buy into. So I want to get rid of all of my debt. And you can still be broke getting rid of your debt. Mm-hmm. What you want to do is you want to pay off your debt little by, like, start with the smallest one, right? You can do that. I think she called it the snowball effect, right?
The Dave Ramsey
avalanche effect, right? So the snowball effect is you pay off the smallest one, and then, you know, you roll that over. So once you finish with that, you roll that over to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? So it builds up, right, as far as the payment. Or you could do avalanche. So she said she spent like 2 years attacking this debt that she had. It was like $35,000. She did it. She looked up. She's like, oh, I finished it, but she was still living in the same space, making the same money. So what she did was she said, you know what? I'm going to pay the minimum amount, and I'm going to double down on my business. I'm going to improve myself, because if I put that money I could be putting debt into my business or myself, I can make 10 times what I would be making. And then she said, in 3 years, I wrote a $52,000 check because I doubled down on me.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna take care of my debt. Nah, once you 10 times your business, and that way you making $300,000 a year, I'm done with that debt. But still make your payments. Don't give me. I ain't saying don't make your payments.
Right.
I'm just saying double down on yourself, because you can make 10 times more to take care of that debt. That debt ain't really going nowhere.
That's like the Maul spoke on that, but he put it in, you know, the realm of real estate, like not spending all your money on, you know, trying to wipe out debt, but the money that you have, even if it's like a tax return, you put it towards your first property.
Right.
But back on what you was on, what I think people don't understand, drum roll, what I think people don't understand is that when you develop self, then you're able to develop your bag. And because the value that you give to the world is, I don't know how it goes. You'll be compensated for it, whatever. I don't know.
That's Jim Rohn. The value you bring to the marketplace.
But if you aren't willing to look in the mirror and figure out how can I make myself a better version of myself to where I can give the value that's been given to me through my gifts back into the world to actually help the world, to help people grow on whatever level your gift is. People don't understand the importance of personal development, bro. And that part, when she said, double down on myself, that's heavy. And that like just helped me, because yes, I can, I read and I'm heavy on personal development, but I'm not always intentional about, you know, that personal growth at an exponential level. Big word for you, Mark.
I got something for you.
But yeah, I truly think that like when we focus on like improving self, and I was telling Maul the other day, it's not necessarily a selfish thing, because if we don't take care of self, how can we be at our best level, or our best, you know, our best personal self, to be able to give that value back into the world? So that's heavy on the double down on self, man. That's a bar in itself.
I think that's where it's at. Well, go ahead, Mark.
Man, I'm trying to find it. So like, I'm a paraphrase. So it's this dude named Earl Nightingale. Are y'all familiar with him?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Uncle Earl.
Yeah,
that's my guy. So there's he told the story of this guy and his son, and the father drew a picture of a goose and a golden egg. So he asked him, would you rather buy the goose or the golden egg? And the son chose the goose. And he said, of course you would. He said, and most people would. He said, you invest your money in the goose because it could go on to lay more golden eggs for years. Then he said, anyone will buy the goose if they presented it this way. But the fact of the matter is that most people had the exact opportunity, and yet they invest in eggs instead of the goose. And what he was saying was that the golden eggs that the goose produces are the things that we produce from all the value that we, you know, put out in the marketplace. So we get compensated with money. And what we do is we end up buying trinkets, bigger house, you know, nicer car, things of that nature, as opposed to using that money to pour back into the goose itself.
But most people are buying eggs when they should be buying goose.
Exactly. Pouring back into yourself. And the story is really, really dope. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to it in the YouTube video so people can check it out. But like going back to what you guys were just saying and everything, that's the first thing that popped in my head. We're too busy thinking about the things that the money can actually buy for us, as opposed to understanding that if we go ahead and put that money back into us, we become so much more. We can produce so much more, which in essence, you'll gain so much more.
Oh, so I'm not sure so I'm reading this book, right? The 4 Agreements. And in the introduction, right, it says, and I'm gonna read a little something real quick, right? And I'm gonna just skip. This dude was sleeping, then he had an out-of-body experience. And then he came out, looked at his hands, felt his body, and said, I am made of light, I am made of stars. And then he said he looked at the stars again, because he was looking in the sky, and realized that it's not the stars bar. I went crazy when I heard this. It's not the stars that create light, but rather the light that creates the stars, right? Bruh, so you look at a star like, yo, it's mad bright, it's shining. But when you look at what's within the stars, it is the light within, which is us, that creates the star, which in return creates the light that you produce into the world.
That's why we call
I am done for the day. All right.
That's why we call people stars.
Exactly. But it's within, it is what's within us that makes us the star that's able to produce the value into the world, the light within. And that is why we must develop internally.
Bro. We getting at the end right there. Listen, this is a deep dive on self. It's a huge deep dive on self, because I think, and I said this to you before, greatness is disturbing. Right? Greatness is disturbing. They keep you up at night. It's something in you that's trying to come, burst out, that light that's trying to shine out, and you're just suppressing it with your trinkets. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna just get a little bit of this because I want to feel like forget how you feel, man.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like forget how you feel. Like, yeah, you have a will to do something, but like my man Corey Jackson say, right, Lil C No, he said, all that stuff you want, you ain't gonna get it because you ain't dedicated. You know what I'm saying? It's like just understanding like what it takes. You got to form habits. You got to double down on self, right? And at the end of the day, yeah, will can get you started, but next week we're gonna talk about how you get it done.
The grind, the habits. Oh, look at this. This is all.
Make sure smash that like button. Subscribe to the Dog Culture Podcast. We appreciate you. My co-host, you want to exit?
I'm your host, Gunny Gunn. My co-host, Mark.
Does this sound bad to say co-host?
Love is love. You. That's why you don't know how to end the podcast. Well, you don't leave yet, Paul. Love is love. You know what I'm saying? Host Gunny. I've been trying to host this thing for a while now, man. Nah, y'all be good, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Help me, please.